This is an M-rated game, so viewer discretion is advised. Afterparty! This is the next game from the creators of Oxenfree, and I remember enjoying that game, so I thought I might like this too. And overall, I did. But it sure had its problems. Now let's get this out of the way. This really isn't a game. It's a walking simulator with very simple mini games every hour or so. I do like walking simulators as I'm a big fan of the Stanley Parable. The last walking simulator I really enjoyed was Firewatch, a game that I was not expecting to like, because I went into it thinking it was something completely different, and when I realized it wasn't, I really got into it. Walking simulators often have minimal gameplay just so you stay engaged. Firewatch is an example of where you had to go to places and find things while expanding the story. You felt alone, and the only comfort you had was the voice on the other end of a walkie-talkie. Afterparty gives you a choice quite often, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter until the end of the game. Sure, the plot points in one of the endings will change, but it's hardly worth replaying the game just to hear a few lines of dialogue. Just look it up on YouTube if you want to see it. The story behind this is about two college kids who die and go to hell. They end up in hell at the end of the workday, and they're not going to get their punishment until the next morning. Until then, they're free to explore hell. They find out that there's actually a loophole that if you can outdrink Satan, you'll return to Earth. So they have only till morning to get this done. I love the art style in this. It is way more colorful and bright than Oxenfree's dull and scary world. Speaking of which, this isn't really scary at all. They allude to a lot of things happening to the souls here, but they never really show much. It's mostly jokes and a lighthearted adventure. The main problem behind this is the lack of things to do. There is only one point where there's an actual choice what to do, and that's fairly early. After that, it's just which one you're going to do first. You're going to have to do them both, so the choice doesn't really matter. You walk around until you find a circle that you can interact with, and you do that, and you move on to the next circle. There are mini games you could do, which have some of the worst controls, but since there isn't any real weight to winning most of these mini games, it really doesn't matter, but I do wish it was controlled better. Now, the main characters were very likable. In fact, I would say all the characters were enjoyable to be around. It's funny to say since most of them are demons. However, it turns out demons are actually quite nice when they're not working. The biggest choice you get is when the dialogue options come up. You often could choose from two options, and they take the conversation in two different ways, but they always come back to the same thing. However, when you drink some alcohol, a third option will often show up. This option is based on the kind of liquor you're drinking. Some might make your interactions happy, or they might give you confidence, or you might get super romantic. The kind of drink that you want is up to you. It really doesn't matter what you pick to drink, as it only changes the first couple lines that it says, and then it goes back to what it needs to be said in the conversation. It was the most trivial of changes, however, it is still enjoyable to do. This will take you about 5 to 6 hours to beat, and there are 3 endings to get. 2 of them are basically the same with just minor differences, but the other ending is actually quite different. They really don't say which one is the right ending though, as there are downsides to both of them. The Switch version has some frame rate problems. I noticed it mostly in the driving sections, but later in the game it did have some minor frame rate issues as well, as you're walking through the town. Nothing game breaking though. Afterparty was fun while it lasted. It did feel like it was a bit dragged out, especially when it had you go on a quest for no reason other than Satan wanting you to do it. It kept my interest until the end, and I really wasn't expecting the main drive of the ending, and I really like that twist. It's currently $19.99, and I would wait for it to go on sale. It's too short of a game to recommend it at full price. It is enjoyable to play once. I doubt anyone would play it twice, even to see the much different ending, because it's really only like a few minutes long, and you can just look it up if you really want to see it. So I would just wait for it to go on sale.